Hey there, Jimmy the K with another installment of the Jimmy the K Sports Show. I hope you are having a terrific week this week. I hope everything's going your way. I apologize for not having a show last week. I know a lot of people are encouraged with the show and like to watch the show, but unfortunately, last week I had a circumstance. I had already made plans, actually, dare I say, to go quail hunting uh, on my parents' property, and we did a little bit of quail hunting. We did some chuckers and pheasant, and had a good time there with a few good friends of ours there. But you know, in the long run, I got to talk a little bit of sports with Mark Roberts, a good friend of mine, and a couple other people. And, we're definitely going to talk about that here tonight. But the first thing I want to get to, the first thing I definitely want to get to is the comment that Mark Cuban said. Mark Cuban basically said that the NCAA is hypocritical. And I'm going to read the actual quote that he said in a conference, basically knocking the NCAA. This is his quote, so I don't want you to sit here and think that I'm paraphrasing it. I'm not. I'm actually reading his quote. His quote reads, "You don't have to pretend. We don't have to pretend. A major college has to pretend that they're treating them like a student athlete, and it's a big lie, and we all know it's a big lie. At least at most schools, not all. But we can put more of an emphasis on their education. We can plan it out, have tutors. We can do all the kinds of things that the NCAA doesn't allow schools to do that would really put the individual first." I want to know from my viewers out there, what do you think of Mark Cuban's quote? Do you believe this is true? Or do you feel like this is just Mark Cuban spouting off? Mark Cuban is notorious for spouting off. We know that much. Um, in some ways I agree with him, in other ways I don't. I feel like Mark Cuban sometimes just needs to sit back, relax, and not say too much. And sometimes he sticks his foot in his mouth. But you know, uh, you want to know something out there, viewers? I honestly, in my opinion, feel like Mark Cuban actually has this one right. I do think that the D League has a better shot of raising players than what the NCAA does. I feel 100% like Mark Cuban hit this nail on the head. Granted, if you're a college student out there, am I telling you to drop out of school or not go to college? No. I feel like college is a good thing for you, especially as athletes. I feel like as an athlete you can better yourself. But in other ways, sometimes I feel like Mark Cuban actually has it right. Maybe a year in the D League, you would be better than a year in college and then coming out in the draft. You know, it's very few and far between at times. So, Mark Cuban has this one right. And I could never believe that I'm going to say that. But do you feel Mark Cuban's got this one right? I've got a couple of viewers out there. I'm going to go ahead and put the poll up. Do you feel like Mark Cuban and his comments about the D League were actually correct? Sorry, I'm trying to type and talk to you at the same time. This is going to get really fun. But this is excellent work for people out there, definitely viewers that I feel are confident enough. You now have the opportunity to answer this question. So, Mark Cuban for so many years has been the type of general manager in some way, or owner in some ways, that I feel a team needs. So, Mark Cuban is not the Jerry Jones, so to speak. And you're going, okay, he said Mark Cuban and Jerry Jones. He's leading into something. I actually am, believe it or not. Mark Cuban has a desire to win as an NBA owner, and he's willing to do what it takes to win. So, as an NBA owner, do you feel like you would do what it takes to win? Or would you be the Jerry Jones of the bunch? Speaking of Jerry Jones, while I'm on that topic, and this is going to actually be one of those topics that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on, and we'll get into the last segment or so about Ron Washington's extension, but I definitely want to spend a good chunk of time on a statement that Jerry Jones made about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been a little bit more, but it was about a week ago when Jerry Jones actually admitted that he was wrong for firing Tom Landry. Wow. Jerry Jones admitted that he was wrong? Really? Jerry Jones admitted that he was wrong. Wow. I'm kind of floored in a way. So, Jerry Jones has made so many mistakes over the years in coaching decisions, coaching decisions and firings, I guess you could say, along the lines of the same thing. He made the mistake of firing Tom Landry, and he owned up to it the other day. He owned up to it. Is he going senile? Is he going to go to the psych ward possibly? Jerry Jones admitted firing Tom Landry was wrong. Now, he admitted a lot of things were wrong, but he never admitted that firing Jimmy Johnson was wrong. There's a lot of things that Jerry Jones has done in years past that we as Cowboy fans question. One of those being the firing of Tom Landry. Tom Landry was by far probably one of the greatest coaches in Cowboys history. Jerry Jones comes in and owns or buys this club for some chunk of money and turns around and fires the greatest coach to ever coach, Tom Landry. So, Tom Landry was by far the greatest coach. Then he hires Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson does a good job with the Cowboys, takes them to back-to-back Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. Takes them to back-to-back Super Bowls. And, excuse me. And then gets fired by Jerry Jones. And a lot of the premise for him getting fired, from a lot of people's opinions, was the fact that Jerry Jones wanted a say in what the club wanted. or what the coach needed to do. Since when does an owner need to put his $200 billion into the locker room? In some ways, I can see where, as an owner, you might want to put money or put your 2 cents in worth. But as an owner, you have to let the team play to the ability that they will play. And Jimmy Johnson wouldn't let Jerry Jones into the team meetings after the game. He'd literally lock the doors. Jerry Jones was not fond of that, so therefore he felt like he had to fire Jimmy Johnson, yet another great coach in Cowboys history. He hires Barry Switzer, who then wins another Super Bowl on the heels of Jimmy Johnson. Granted, Barry Switzer was a great coach at the University of Oklahoma, but he was not a great Cowboys coach. He won that Super Bowl on the back end of Jimmy Johnson's. Then, after that, he fires Barry Switzer, and the coaching carousel for years and years and years goes on. Cowboys don't make the playoffs until Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells gets them there. He's there another year or so and continues to fall off the grid, fall off the grid, fall off the grid. So if you continue to fall off the grid, your owner's going to fire you, correct? No matter how great you are. Yes, they are. They're going to follow you. Or they're going to follow you. They're going to fire you. So, as Jerry Jones has made some difficult decisions and some stupid decisions, in my opinion, over the last 25 years, Jerry Jones now has to step up as the Dallas Cowboys owner, own up to his mistakes, which he has, and now he's got to give Jason Garrett the reins to better this organization. How will the Cowboys better this organization? By a good draft. By drafting somebody the Cowboys need. The Cowboys talked to Johnny Manziel at the Combine. Johnny Manziel is a quarterback. Why, in your right mind, are you talking to Johnny Manziel when you just signed Romo last year to a lucrative over $100 million contract? You know, Tony Romo is going to start the season hurt. So what? You don't go to the Combine talking to Johnny Manziel, getting his hopes up that the Dallas Cowboys are going to draft him. The Dallas Cowboys have no place in the quarterback corps for Johnny Manziel. Granted, it probably is the perfect place for Johnny Manziel and all his antics and ego, and the fact that Jerry Jones would probably be his supplier when it came to drugs. Yes, you heard that right. First and only here on the Jimmy the K Sports Show. And remember, I'm to the core. I'm going to tell like it is. I don't care. You know, I don't care what your sports writers at ESPN, Richard Durrett, or all those other guys are going to be. They're going to coddle everybody and try to mollycoddle you and say, oh, we can't say that. Well, the truth of the matter is, that's the truth. The only way Johnny Manziel would wind up on this team is if Tony Romo was killed by a drunk driver, Kyle Orton was shot in the back of the head, and, you know, the third string quarterback, well, just wasn't any good. You know, The Cowboys, by far, are a great team. People can knock Romo all they want. Romo's a good quarterback. What he needs is an offensive line, an offensive coordinator, and somebody that can get the Cowboys over the hump. You know, they need Jerry Jones to step back in the organization, do his job as an owner, listen to Jason Garrett and the needs for this organization, and Jerry Jones go out and get those pieces. What the Cowboys need, they don't need offense. They don't need a running back. They need defensive players. If you're going to go out in this draft this year for the Cowboys, they need to go out and draft a defensive player. Maurice Claiborne started to come through the light last year, and he started to do pretty well in the NFL. But, you know, they need better defensive players. I feel the Cowboys can get over this hump yet again if only they go out and do what needs to be done, and that's draft a defensive player. They need to draft players that need to be drafted, not players that want to be drafted. So, you know, Jay Jones is a smart man. I'm not going to dog him for being a smart man. He's pretty smart financially, pretty smart investor, and pretty smart good owner. But what he's not is he's not a general or not an owner that can get this team to another Super Bowl. Honestly, in my opinion, and you're going to hear it first and only here on the Jimmy the K Sports Show, the Cowboys will not win another Super Bowl as Jerry Jones is the owner. So, with that being said, let's go to a couple other things. I definitely want to get to this, the news about Ron Washington's extension. This came out actually about Sunday or Monday of this week, and honestly, I thought about coming on and doing a breaking news story like I did with the Nolan Ryan thing, but I went against that. I want to know from my viewers, is that something that you'd like to see, is breaking news stories? Breaking news stories during the week. Is that something that you want to see more and more of? You know, this came out, like I said, Sunday or Monday of last week. It was early last week, and I had thought about coming on, and like I said, doing a breaking news story, and went actually against it. Honestly, because the fact is the numbers didn't come out. I've went through all the resources that I've had, and the numbers just aren't there. He doesn't have a contract that is viewable online. I know we know as a sports team that Ron Washington did get an extension, but we don't know by how much. We don't know if it was by $1 million, $2 million. We really don't. But we do know that he did get an extension, and in my opinion, as a Ranger fan and a sports fan through and through, I think the Ron Washington thing was well deserved. I feel like Ron Washington has done nothing but get this team over the hump. I will admit Ron Washington does make mistakes as a manager. There are some times when you're watching a Ranger game when he goes in and he pulls a pitcher and puts in another pitcher, and you're scratching your head going, why did he do that? Why did he do that? That pitcher was going just fine. Why did he pull that pitcher, go to this next pitcher? Then they wind up losing the game. It was well deserved, in my opinion. But he does make you scratch your head a lot of times as a manager. But was it well deserved? Yes, it was very well deserved. And I feel, honestly, Ron Washington, like I said, has done everything over the top to get this team where it needs to be, one way or the other. This team can be elite. I think this team, in my opinion, and notice I'm saying in my opinion a lot. This is only my opinion. I want to know your opinions as viewers. I've got the chat window up here. All you have to do, if you don't know how to use the chat window, I need to go ahead and go into this, and I'll go back. If you don't know how to use the chat window to the right, basically you have the Ustream. If you're following me through Ustream, you can follow me on Ustream. If you set an account on Ustream, you can follow me on Ustream, and then you can use your Ustream ID to chat with me there. Or, as you see on the bottom left to the deal, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, you can sign in with your Twitter or Facebook account and message me that way. I definitely want to hear from my viewers. This is definitely my show, but I want to know questions from you. You're the sports fan. I want you to be part of my show. It's as simple as asking questions. Coming in and chatting. If you use the chat window to the right that you see, you can ask me questions live during the show. I don't care. I will actually go off topic. If you want to know, excuse me, if I feel like the Olympics were rigged, you can chat with me live Ustream and say, hey, do you think the Olympics were rigged? And I'm going to tell you, yes, I think the Olympics were rigged, or no, I don't think the Olympics were rigged. But it's definitely something that I've come to love with Ustream, is the fact that you, the listener, you, the viewer, can actually chat with me live. So remember that each and every time you come back, that when you come on my show, you can ask me anything live. You can ask me during the week. Honestly, I prefer questions during the week, but I definitely love them live. If you want to chat with me live right now, you can chat with me live right now. Just type in and say, hey, your show sucks or whatever. Fine. Say your show sucks or whatever, and then send. But it's something that I appreciate is Ustream. The fact that you, the viewer or the listener, can be part of the show. It's definitely something that I've always wanted, and it's something that I feel like is something that I can get, or that can get us over the hump, excuse me. So, back on topic, I apologize. Do I feel like the Ron Washington deal was well-deserved? Yes, I do. I feel like it was very well-deserved. I want to know from my viewers. Chat with me or send me an email through my Facebook account or the All About Sports Zone page on Facebook. But I want to know from you. Do you feel like the contract extension was well-deserved? Like I said, I feel like it was well-deserved for the fact that Ron Washington has got this team over the hump many and many of times. He's gotten them to the World Series twice. Granted, people are going to say, yeah, but they've dropped the ball twice. Yeah, no, I can't necessarily say they've dropped the ball. I will say Nelson Cruz did drop the ball, and that's something else I want to get to. The fact that Nelson Cruz signed a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Baltimore Orioles after turning down an arbitration offer of $14.1 million. The Rangers now get that pick from the Baltimore Orioles. So, with that being said, it was a bad idea on Nelson Cruz's part. He could have come back to the Rangers for $14.1 million settled the arbitration deal, said, hey, I'm going to take that deal. Instead, he goes to Baltimore for 1 year and $8 million. Granted, as sports fans, we knew the deal that Nelson Cruz was going to get was only going to be a 1 year deal for the fact that he only played for most of last year, and then he was suspended 50 games. Then he come back to the playoffs for 1 game and didn't do very well. So, I know I've got a couple of people viewing possibly around the Baltimore area. I don't know if they're Baltimore Oriole fans. I don't know if they're Los Angeles Dodger fans, but what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Nelly Cruz is going to have a successful 1 year deal? 1 year deal with the Baltimore Orioles, or do you think he's going to flop and drop the ball the way he did the 1 year in the World Series for the Texas Rangers? That one ball he dropped cost them the World Series, so Baltimore can have him all they want. Maybe they'll go to the World Series and he'll drop the ball. Then the Rangers fans will laugh at him. Oh, goodness. Okay, one last thing before I have to close the show. One last thing. The Texas Rangers' Elvis Andrus has officially caught the injury bug yet again. And he's got a flexor tendonitis. I have absolutely no idea what that is. Supposedly it's somewhere up here in your shoulder. I'm like, flexor tendonitis sounds like something that honestly is, dare I say, a mental disorder, okay? to me, sorry, he's going to have to sit out the next few days because he's got flexor tendonitis. Sounds like a mental disorder to me. Wow. Flexor tendonitis. No, basically it has something to do with your shoulder. He'll have to sit out for a few days. Blah, blah, blah. This is a situation that didn't happen under Nolan Ryan. They get rid of Nolan Ryan, and guess what? All the injury bug comes back. Derek Holland trips over his dog at home. He won't be pitching till midseason. Elvis Andrus has flexor tendonitis, supposedly from throwing too much. It's baseball. For crying out loud, you're going to throw for over 200 days out of the year. Stop whining. There's a famous line in a movie that I love, The League of Their Own. It's Tom Cruise where he's talking to the girl and goes, "Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball." Well, guess what, guys? There's no crying in baseball. So get over it. You got flexor tendonitis. Take a shot, get back out there, grow a pair, and play the game, would you? So that about does it for this week's show. I thank our viewers for coming in and listening to the show this week. Remember, we're on each and every Saturday night, same time, same bat channel, 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Stop on by, ask your questions. There's actually ways you can ask questions through Facebook, through our All About Sports Zone email address, or you can come here if you get bored during the week and just chat with me live on Ustream. Oh, so the 3 simple ways you can chat with me. 3 simple ways. You can ask your sports questions 3 ways. Those 3 ways are as follows. You can email me at allaboutsportszone@gmail.com. Again, that's allaboutsportszone@gmail.com. You can like our Facebook page, All About Sports Zone, on Facebook, and ask us or message us through there. Or you can, if you're friends with me, you can message me during the excuse me. You can message me. Oh, people. Oh, you can message me live through my Facebook page. Oh, flexor tendonitis. I'm going to have to stop saying that. It sounds like a mental disorder. Oh, but those are the 3 simple ways you can get in touch during the week. So, therefore, those are the 3 ways you can get in touch with me. You can like our Ustream page. If you sign up for Ustream, this is the greatest thing in the world. If you sign up for Ustream, you can follow us like on Facebook or anywhere else. Excuse me, I think I'm going to lose my voice. Too much yelling. It's too much you knuckleheads around here. But also, there's one other way you can actually get in touch with us. That's at Twitter, at Jimmy Kersey1. You can get in touch with us. Those 3 simple, or 4, I can't even remember how many I just gave you. But those 3 or 4 simple ways you can get in touch with us during the week. Those will get your sports questions answered. You too can be part of our show. That's why I'm doing this. It's not to hear myself talk, although sometimes I like to hear myself talk. But this is done for you. As a sports fan, I want to know, what are ways that we can better this? What are ways we can better this show? I already know there's ways. For instance, we can intro the show. We can outro the show. I'm in the process right now of working on an introduction. I actually had one for the radio program that I did at one point, where it was Monday nights at like 6 p.m. But because my son is asleep on Saturdays, typically by 9 o'clock, this makes it a lot easier for us. And plus, you don't have a naked kid running back and forth. Nolan Ryan's not running in the background naked. Sorry, guys, you're not going to see Nolan Ryan naked. Oh. But with that being said, I thank you, the viewers, for listening. I want more information from you, better ways we can better the show. If you're friends with me on Facebook or through All About Sports Zone or here, what are better ways to better this show? And I've got a couple of messages here on what flexor tendonitis is before I go, because it is an ML disorder. It just sounds like one to me. More information on flexor tendons, which are the tissues that help control movement in your hand. A flexor tendon injury can make it impossible to bend your fingers or thumbs. Oh, wow. Wow, it almost sounds like he's only Elvis Andrus. He's in his 20s. He can't be having a stroke. It causes serious issues. Flexor tendonitis, when you use it too much or not in a proper way. He'll be back. Don't give up on him. And I know it's Elvis Andrus. Elvis Andrus is hard to the core. He's one of the leaders on this team, and I know he'll be back. But it's Elvis Andrus. I thank you again. I'm going to stop saying I thank you again. I thank you again for viewing this week. Again, those are the ways you can get in touch with me. allaboutsportszone@gmail.com, at Jimmy Kersey1, All About Sports Zone on Facebook, or what else? There's one other one. Or you can message me if you're a friend of mine on Facebook. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week, 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time. I'm Jimmy the K. Peace out, and as the friend Porky Pig would say, that's all, folks. See you next